honestly, I'm falling into this sea. I'm drowning. When will this light come dawning? Sink to the ground, start walking out. Find a way to make it out on my own. Find a way to make it out on my own. Bite my tongue till I taste blood. Wake the dead from the and honestly, I'm falling into this sea. I'm drowning. When will this light come dawning? Sink to the ground, start walking out. Find a way to make it out on my own. Start walking out. Oh, my sleeping darling, buy me sometime and shut your eyes. For I'm home but lost inside of these walls. Oh, my sleeping darling, you're safe inside. Can shut your eyes if you want to, for you will wake up on the other side of these walls. Forecast is cold. We are headed north. My head feels dull. We're driving after dark. Oh, my sleeping darling, you're safe tonight. Just rest with the water, for I am the yours on other sides of these walls. Forecast is cold. We are headed north. My head feels dull. We're driving after dark. Forecast is cold.
And welcome. Hi, everybody. My name is Jeff Plankenhorn, and I am here on what is known as 20 Question Tuesday. Oh, that way. And for those who aren't initiated, welcome on Austin Music TV. Welcome on, which is channel 16 in Austin. I believe it's 99 on ATT Uverse. And also welcome on AustinCityJams.com. And welcome on all of my socials. As again, my name is Jeff Plankenhorn. And this week my guest will be Scott Collins in just a moment. But for those who have never been here before, basically what happened was one day early on in the pandemic, I just flipped on my camera and turned on the old web stuff. And I'm a professional musician, or at least keeping up the facade that that's still happening. And I started taking questions like a workshop on a Tuesday early. And it was really cool. All these people started coming in. Musicians, producers, managers, people who don't do anything with music but just really, really love it. And they started asking questions. And then Sheila Steele from Austin Music TV said, "Hey, would you like to put this on our cable channel with all the other music stuff?" And I was like, "Man, that'd be really cool." So I got this, interesting app where you can spread it out to many places. That's what this means. Send it out to multiple platforms. And then I just saw this little button at the bottom with a person and a plus sign, and I said, "Oh, I can invite guests." So first I invited, I think, Michael O'Connor, then Jamie Harris, then there was Bill Kirchen, then there was Ruthie Foster, then there was Ray Wiley, and it just started snowballing into this wonderful, 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 beautiful thing. And I like it because the questions all come from the audience most of the time. I ask a few, but most of the questions come from the audience via the chat online. And it's pretty hip. Hey, so for a couple housekeeping things real quick before we start, there will be a resentment show this Sunday. And we do two shows. We do one show that's kind of like a private Zoom thing that you can buy a ticket for. And then we also do a show that's on cable and on all of these other things. And we'll be doing that until we can get back to the Saxon Pub and it opens up. You can find out about that on the Resentments pages on Facebook or wherever. And it's really, really fun. All the information is there. I do my regular weekly live stream. I used to do it on Tuesday nights. We just moved to Monday, so I did it last night. But I will also be rebroadcasting it tonight here on Austin Music TV as well. It's already set to go. It's in the computer, and it's going to play for you tonight, so you'll be able to watch it if you like. And thanks for everybody who gave me a really, really, really great show last night. It was a blast. Played some new material, played some stuff from my Patreon page and for my Patreon followers who are keeping me alive during the pandemic. Thank you so much. And my wife and my dogs are happy too that you guys have been so kind and generous. And, those little salmon cookies, they don't pay for themselves. And then also, I will mention maybe once or twice during the show, I always split tips with my guest. And hopefully we get enough to give my guests some gas money or maybe so they can buy their significant other a meal or something like that. It's a little perk of the show, and it's how I keep it going and how you show some appreciation for digging us hanging out. So without further ado, I think that's all the housekeeping I have right now. Oh, except for I do have a new song that you can pre-save. I'm not sure if we have that, but maybe Danielle will put it in the comments. Maybe I'll throw it up there in a second. But more importantly right now, everybody, let's get right to it. Here comes Mr. Scott Collins. Oh, wait a second. He's back there. There he is.
Thank you for having me.
I always like to say I love being had.
I know. I have myself every day.
Danielle, thanks for putting that link up. You're awesome. For those who didn't get that, we'll put it over on the other socials as well. I hope all the socials are working right now. I see Twitch is working. I see Facebook is working. I see YouTube is working. Okay, great. Hi, Carolyn. Welcome back. Good to see you there. Ooh, Danielle has a question I have not written down yet. And we're going to just dive right in and go right to the questions because we got them coming here. Okay?
I love it.
I'm super glad you're here, and we'll talk about whatever you need to and make sure you get in whatever you're working on right now. But I love audience questions, so here we go. Danielle says, I know he has his own day in Austin. Does he have anything he does special just on his day? Like on Scott Collins' day, does he have a grilled cheese for lunch every year?
Ooh, that's a good lunch reference right there. No,
Are you a grilled cheese man?
I would eat it. I'm an eat anything man. I've noticed, not to get too off topic, I'm finding myself going away from meat the older I get, more towards meatless stuff. I don't know why. I love vegetables, but I've been one of those dudes, like if they could just put food in a pill, I'd do that. I just need to get through the day. Never been a big foodie.
It's funny. I had a college friend who wanted to design something that was just called food, and you put it in a can and you eat it and you give everything, and he would just call it food. And you put it in a can, you eat that. You would be that guy?
I would try to get a sponsorship from them.
Yeah.
I would live off that.
a food sponsor. Okay, well that's fair. That's
Yeah,
fair.
I'd
Is
eat
there anything else you
food.
do on your Scott Collins Day? I like that question. What do you do on
What
Scott
I
Collins Day?
what I like to promote on Scott Collins Day has been something that I found on a tour I did of the East Coast, where I found myself just waving at people that I never thought I would wave at before. I usually keep my head down. I was like waving, saying hi, just being social. So what I would say on my day, aside from what I really try to do every year, is like just say hi to someone you normally wouldn't, someone you
Oh,
might ignore in your life. Yeah, like on the street, like wave, say hi, just be courteous in society in a day when you might not ever be or think to, like kind of get outside of your box because most times those people are like, hey, like that's awesome. It's a good way of passing some kind of kindness. But yeah, on my day, what I did after the first one is I had a roast of Scott Collins at
somebody was asking about this, so
yeah,
somebody's already put it in there. Are we doing another Scott Collins
girl.
roast?
I can't wait to do my next roast. But yeah, so I thought it was just so funny in general that I even had a day that I every year after I wanted to have a roast of Scott Collins. So we did one successfully at the Saxon Pub, and I haven't been able to have a roast since. But yeah, so my two recommendations on Scott Collins Day are say hi to and wave at someone, be kind that you normally would never do, and then also roast me. Think, come up with your best zinger
I
and
think some of
and give
some of
it to
my
me.
I think most of my favorite artists, personally, because you don't always love personally the people that you love musically. That's just the way it is. I wish it were not
Yeah,
that way, but you can't always, look at those people and expect them to be something they're not. And sometimes you're disappointed, and that's a shame. Or you catch them on a bad
yeah,
day and you think they're that way for their whole lives. But of the people that I really dig, I love the people that have a good time with themselves and don't take themselves too seriously. And I think having a roast is an
yeah.
absolutely fantastic way. I would invite, I don't know who would show up, but I would definitely have a roast for myself. Um, I think
I recommend it.
that's a fantastic idea. Hey, let's go back to the meat thing just for a second because I'm curious. Now, did you say
Yeah,
that it was because you loved vegetables or you're getting older? Do you feel like you're just kind of going that way? I just heard this really, really incredible podcast a couple of days ago where they were talking about the future of this stuff,
yeah,
and I found it really, really interesting, especially because once cell-based stuff gets a little bit more edible and
yeah,
enjoyable and cheaper, and you don't have to treat animals like crap.
yeah,
Once it gets to that point, it's like, well, wait a second. That was the first time I heard it put in a way that really, really made a lot of sense to me. It was like, wait a second, it's going to be cheaper, it's going to taste better, and you're not going to have to do all this bad stuff for the environment. And that I was like, well, okay, but
yeah. We're that much closer to food.
yeah, to food in a can.
Food in a can.
Um, but I find it interesting too because I have found the same thing. As I age a little bit, I found that I lean away from meat a little bit more pescatarian. I can't help it
Yeah,
because my wife is a gardener and she was vegetarian for a bit, but she couldn't handle it. She was
yeah.
vegetarian for a bit and she did it for like a year and she was like, yeah, it was great. I just really, really hated it. And she's
Tried it in
outside.
high school for a year and couldn't do it.
Is that
Tried to
right?
be a
Yeah.
vegetarian in high school for a year just because I'm big on a journalist of life. I wanted to see what that lifestyle was like
Hmm.
before I had
Hmm.
any kind of judgment on it whatsoever. Yeah, so I tried it in high school. I mean, I was also young, so I ended up quitting by eating a burrito drunk in Mexico. But other than that, yeah, for me, honestly, it's more natural than conscious thought. It's my natural progression, and I follow my body and really listen to it. Is veering away from meat
Mm,
and the texture, everything about it. I don't really dig. So
mm.
it's more of yeah, just leaning into what my body's telling me, and I like it. Yeah, I like it a lot more than
We
thinking
find
I
the
need
same thing.
protein
Like,
from specific things. I now pay more attention to what's in things, actually. So yeah,
yeah,
it's more the older I get, and yeah, it's more natural than conscious thought.
There's a lot to it for sure, and we're kind of finding that the less we eat, the less the more it kind of influences us in a bad way when we break off and we have it, you know. Um,
Yeah.
Because like we'll be like, oh man, we really want to have this or we will have that, and then we just left with this huge, heavy, kind of gut bomb kind of feeling after we ate something else, and we're like, oh man, I'm full, but I feel great. I mean, it's
Yeah.
tough though.
My yeah.
I still have to make carne guisada myself up here because I
That
miss
sounds
it
good
so
though.
much. I miss it, doesn't it? I mean, there you go. It just sounds. It's
Yeah, I'm not
tough, but I tell
against
you.
meat, and I'm not against trying things. It's just, yeah, if I were left to my own devices, I would go, meatless. Also, my stomach is just really messed up from years of pills and booze.
Yeah, and road
I'm
food.
finally off yeah, and road food and sugar after I quit booze. So like I
Yeah.
have to kind of be careful what I eat. Because just the pain, it messes with your head, it messes with everything. So I gotta take care of myself. So I'm the best I can be for when I perform and around people every
Now,
day since I own and run a studio.
yeah, I know there's a couple of people out there that I've talked to that have gotten like one person really loved the Russell Simmons book. Also RZA from
Yeah,
Wu-Tang is has gone vegan, and he talks about it a lot on podcasts and stuff like that, and how great it was,
I
and
remember
how
that. Yeah.
it was a really slow progression, and that it was like it's like, well, at first I just started having like turkey burgers, and then I started having fish, and then this and this and that, and he's like, and
Yeah.
eventually he's like, I was able to do it, and he's like, now I just don't crave it, which is interesting. I can't imagine
Yeah.
not craving it, but I sure like the idea, and I also really like the idea of it, someday being cell based. Anyway, enough on
Totally.
that. Who knew we were going to talk about that? But cool. I have a
I know.
fun kind of softball, easy question. When our friend Lee Doctari, Doctari is his nickname, Lee Ketteret was asking, he was listening to the intro and those awesome songs. Are those both from your new EP?
Yes, the first one was Sync, and the second one was
Right?
Headed North,
Headed
the
North, which
title
is the
track
title.
off my
Yeah.
latest EP that we recorded right before shutdown, right before quarantine, me, Frenchie Smith, and Anar Peterson at the Bubble, and we're like, well, social experiment, let's release a record during uh once in a lifetime lockdown. And we
Yeah.
did, and it went so well. I'm
Yeah.
so humbled. It like completely revived my spirit for staying, and I'm a lifer. But I, like most people, had that thought, oh my God, I'm a musician? Is that what can I do that the rest of my life? So yeah, no, it was great to release the music, and now I've got more music, and yeah, it was a smart choice. I was happy
Well,
with it.
honestly, it's great, and I think a lot of people got over that fear and put something out, and people out there
Totally.
wanted it and needed it, and they weren't seeing
Yeah.
shows, and they were doing things like this. And as we kind of go back in, I think there'll be a balance between doing this kind of thing and doing online shows for the people around the world who don't get to see every day in Austin and where not, and then the balance of, yes, we want to play for people, but I think there'll be
Yeah.
a healthy balance, just like there is with like people realizing, hey, I don't have to fly to Seattle to have a 1 hour meeting anymore because I have freaking Zoom and Skype or whatever,
Yeah.
and so things will make a lot more sense that way too. But Lee's question was this: were you influenced? I mean, the way he phrased it was, were the Byrds a big influence?
That's actually funny. Not consciously, but now that I think about it, my father, growing up, he was in a band called The Last Generation. They didn't like do much. They played the hotels in Indiana. He was in Gary, Indiana. And he didn't go
Oh,
into
geez.
music, but it was, but huh?
Oh, geez.
Oh yeah.
Gary, Indiana. Yeah, I know
I
about that.
know, I know. Yeah, my mom was from Chicago, dad Gary, Indiana. I grew up, spent my youth in Chicago. But anyway, so the Birds, like my dad played all that. They played music like that, and
So maybe it was back
growing
here a
up, they
little bit.
always maybe that's what I'm saying. Like I've never heard that reference, but like now that I think about it, like maybe growing up listening to so much classic rock from my dad and my brother, and I would listen to hip hop and like rock and stuff, and they were just classic rock that it was just slammed in my brain, or maybe just kind of in the DNA, as they say.
Yeah. It's funny
that's
when
cool.
somebody points out a reference to my music or something that I'm working on, and I go, "Oh yeah, I guess I can hear a little bit of that in there," and then I
Yeah,
think
would have
back
never
on
thought
it
of it.
just exactly the way you did. I mean, so many times something will come through and something that we write that is not necessarily like right there on the surface for us, but it seeps in, and people go,
Yeah,
"Oh man, I can hear the birds in there," and then you're flattered.
yeah.
I tend to be flattered. It used to be, I don't know about you, but when I was younger, if somebody was like, you know, come on, play an Allman Brothers tune, I'd be like, I don't know any Allman Brothers tunes. I love them.
No,
They're great, but I'm not going to do a crappy version of Melissa. I'm not going to do it,
yeah.
And then they'd go, I know you know it, and I know I really don't. But now,
What?
now, well, now I'm kind of flattered, and I learned, like, remember how I said 3 managers ago? Like 3 managers ago,
Yeah,
a guy had a really really good idea, and he's like, yeah, what you should do is you should say to him, hey man, that's really great. If you think I can play that, you like this song. And then you play anything that you can think of that's like, and then the
I
other
do
thing
it.
is, screw them, play the set list that you were ready to play. But if you're
No,
doing
no,
a
no. You're
4-hour show
preaching to
at
the
Green,
choir.
if you're doing a
Yeah.
4-hour show at Green or something, Daktari says, I'm so old, my dad played it. Oh, that's funny. Yeah. Well, hey man, who knows? This is an ageless, non-ageist show, that's for sure.
Hey,
We
I've
have young and
always
old.
been one of Yeah, I've always been one to. I mean, obviously, I'm younger, or whatever, but to celebrate life, like, because I know, God willing or Goddess willing, I'll become old,
Yeah.
and that's awesome. It's gonna suck and hurt and hemorrhoid and all kinds of stuff. Not saying it already is, but it is a blessing just to be alive and see what life is
Uh,
like, not physically, but at least visually.
I tell you, from my perspective, it's all about aging gracefully. The first time a girl came up to me at a show and was like, "You should dye your
100%.
beard," she said, "You should dye your beard." I was like, "Nah, I'm good. I'm good." And the
Yeah,
rest of my friends can pretend they're not getting old, but I'm not going to do it. I don't care
yeah. I was
if it works with
balding.
the business. It's tough.
Yeah,
Oh
I
yeah,
was
I get that.
100% balding.
We're
No, but I
there.
mean, I was balding. And what I did then, I was going to age gracefully. That's what I told everybody. And then
Ah,
my drummer, Luis, got on this product called Keeps, Keeps, Keeps. And so I was like, it worked for him. Why not give just purely as
you're
an
kidding me.
experiment?
You did an experiment and you've got hair. Wow.
I don't know if you
Crazy
can
dude.
see, but all of this was gone. If like
Yeah.
all of this, my bald spot. Oh yeah, and now I can grow my hair out. I can shave it on the side like an idiot.
Well,
I can do all kinds of stuff.
you are a spokesperson.
Oh yeah.
I
Oh,
mean, the
we've been
chapeau
in
is a
touch.
good
We've
look.
talked.
I mean, the chapeau is a good look, and I do see a lot of people, who have plenty of hair that are rocking the haberdasheries these days. But
Yeah.
but um, my style
Oh,
is
this was
no
just for the
style at
people.
all. I love it, dude. I love it. Well, anyway, about the bird's influence, that's kind of cool. I like the way things seep through. Speaking of, we noticed a little bit about tattoos. We're going to do something else that has nothing to do with music. And this is from Kate as well, Kate Howard. And it says, what was your first tattoo? What's your latest? And what is the next one you have planned?
You got it.
This is
So
for
I
kids.
know
No, I'm just kidding.
we're getting deep. We're getting deep, kids. So my first
Okay.
tattoo was right here. It says, oh gosh, what's it say? No se te amor, which I think it's know thyself in Latin,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
which
Uh-huh.
I saw in the ceiling of the first Matrix movie. And then over here I got Vivo et amor, live in love in
Uh-huh.
Latin.
Uh-huh.
And then I just started getting covered
Yeah.
from face to
Oh, you've got
ears to
face. Yeah.
neck. Oh
You
yeah,
have
I've got a
ear
little
tattoos?
start. Yeah, I didn't want to, in case I didn't want to wear earrings. You see that little black dot?
Wow.
I
I
know.
dig it, man. I dig
Thanks,
it.
dude. So that was the first, and then it just started spreading to the everything, and I just love it. It's
Now,
music, tattoos, and film are just my loves.
oh, right on, man.
Yeah.
As far as getting tatted up and stuff like that, I'm not going to ask the did it hurt silly questions. My wife has some great tattoos that she loves very much. I'm sure they did. And it really depends on where you get them too, if it's on the bone or something like that, But
context dependent
did
to
you
the person
find
as well?
What's that?
Oh, sorry. Context dependent to the person as well, type thing. Like I've gotten a head tattoo that I didn't feel, and the dude who did it with full tattoo, like he hated it. So yeah,
Really?
there's a weird aspect of it feels different for each person, although it's the same procedure. So
yeah. And but what I was going to ask was, do you have the sort of I won't say addictive thing with it, but I do feel like some people feel like once they start going, they really, man, I got to connect. I got to make the sleeve happen.
Yeah.
I won't feel done until it's done.
Yeah. And I'm also self-diagnosed OCD from severe from a childhood. But that may play into it. But yeah, totally. Once I started going, and I loved them since I was a baby. The second I saw Bart Simpson on the first episode, Christmas, where he got the tattoo that was supposed to say "mom" and "mother," and it just said "moth," I was like, I turned to my mom. I remember she saying that. I turned to her. I go, "I want to get that." She goes, "What, tattoos?" She goes, "A tattoo?" I go, "No, tattoos. I want a lot." And actually, and I even got one from a show, Pete and Pete. There was a show on Nickelodeon called Pete and Pete, and a kid, like 10-year-old, had petunia on his arm, and so I got petunia. But yeah, man, no, there is an addiction. There's a freedom once you do it, knowing you don't care. It's awesome. My body's a suit. I just call it they're stickers on my suitcase. That's what I've been saying from the beginning. But
I like that.
also, as much as they hurt, there is and can be a therapeutic element to when you're sitting down, like getting, dude just in my face, just tattooing my neck. Like it's wild, but I just breathe through it and get through it. And oddly, I would say there is some sort of therapeutic element to it.
Well, I mean, not oddly,
For
it's
sure.
something that I commonly hear and that my wife has talked about for sure. Johnny Gowdy says, nothing says freedom like an addiction. Touche. Daddy Earl. Hey, Earl, I love this question
One
too.
thing I can't quit.
This kind of ties in. Is it always the same artist? And of course, it's got to be lots of different ones, but are you always trying different ones? And do you have any from an artist of fame of your tats?
I missed the question, but do I have any artists of fame tattoos? I actually
and also, do you tend to have like the same artists, or do you go to lots of different people for lots of different
artists? No, when I first started, it was in Dallas. I had just put myself in outpatient rehab, and through that decided to drop out of grad school, where I was studying to be a psychiatrist or a psychologist. And once I dropped out, I got a job at Urban Outfitters. And once I got my 2 tattoos, I had just the job and free time. I went and I just hung out at the shop. I just was at the shop all day, every day. And so they would tattoo me for free, tattoo me for a T-shirt. I got,
Okay, wait. I got to stop you here for a second. A free tattoo?
Yeah. This one right here, this Paul Rogers skull. If I can figure it out. Anyway,
I can see it. I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah, he was great. Anyway, he was just like, "Hey, Scotty, you see that Paul Rogers on the Flash there? I really want to work on it. You want to sit down and get one?" Yeah. And so they would. Yeah, I've got stories for days of hanging out.
See, I have jokes. I have jokes.
Those were my people.
I've got lots of jokes about free tattoos. I think free tattoos and cheap sushi scare me. Both. Yeah. I don't know if I'm really interested because one time, Ray Wiley had written this song, "Crimson Dragon Tattoo," many years back because there was a place and he drove by it. It was up on I think it was up on Burnett or something in Austin. And for those of you listening in from other places, so. It's like, so he had this place called Crimson Dragon Tattoo, and he wrote a song, a mandolin kind of song. Ray was really into sea chanties at the time, playing a lot of mandolin. And he wrote this song, I got a crimson dragon tattoo, And he said, Jeff, they called me and they said, hey, we love the song, and would anybody like a free tattoo? And he said, I'll give it to you. And I went, a free tattoo? I was like, I've always really, really wanted it. Like, I have specific stuff that I want that I've never gotten. Okay, like tons and tons of things that I've wanted. And I still said no, because I was like, a free tattoo just sounds. But you're telling me that lots of your tattoos were free?
No, not a lot of them were free, but
A
some,
few?
like, just meaning, like, yeah, more than a few. I got an El Camino up here somewhere. Oh, an El Camino that I traded for a T-shirt. If you see that well, yeah. So, like, I had a
I'm sorry.
T-shirt
I
that
just
was
think
just
this is
like 10
great.
bucks. It
I'm
said "Skate or
sorry.
Die," but I was staying at my friend's house, and his homie was in from Utah. These are all famous award-winning tattooers, though. That's the thing. It was never
Oh,
like sitting in
sure.
a
It wasn't.
garage.
It wasn't like
Yeah,
you were
so
going to Joe Schmo and
oh no, yeah. I was so lucky that I just, again, just being like a journalist of life, like I just became part of this crew, and I didn't drink, so I was the driver of everybody until like
Oh yeah,
till
that
6
is
a.m. every
one of
night.
the one of the benefits.
I was young
Yeah.
Scotty in the skinny jeans that they made fun of, but like I spent Dallas was a weird experience for me where I solidified who I became. And to come back to Austin. And in Austin now I will go to places like for my neck and stuff, I'll go to somewhere I know I can trust the
Yeah.
tattooist.
Yeah.
But I don't
Yeah.
really have a person anymore.
A particular.
Everybody's moved on to different states and all that. Yeah.
My wife
But
will follow certain Instagram people that are tattoo artists, especially ones that do because she's a horticulturalist. She's always looking for something of that variety, and she has like a
yeah.
couple tattoo artists, and she'll wait and see, like, man, I think they're going to be coming through town, and if they come through town, maybe I can do a booking, and yada yada yada, and I think it's a really, really beautiful art form in that there's a lot of community around it and stuff, and there's a lot of like vibe with
Yeah.
certain artists, and if you get a tattoo from a certain artist and somebody else has one, there's a kind of a big deal there too. And
Oh yeah.
I,
I've got
I, I
one that's a
mean,
huge connection to.
tell me
I've
about
got
it.
I've got 13 here on my side. Was done by Oliver Peck, who's
Okay.
now a famous dude on a tattoo show. He would skate
Uh-huh.
for Vans and Oliver Peck. And he owned Elm Street Tattoo in Dallas, and he was dating Kat Von D. Or sorry, they were married. They got divorced, and she had the record for the most tattoos done in 24 hours. And he was like, "That I want to beat her." And get the most tattoos. So he just put out a roll call. This was before cell phones. I was working at Urban Outfitters in Dallas, and just the whole scene, everybody, like, we knew that we have to go down to Elm Street Tattoo after work, and we just stood in line. Where do you want it? Stencil, walk up, and walked out, and we're all
See, now
part of
this is
this
another
crew.
thing that this
Yeah.
cracks me up. Okay, so I got to break
On
in here
Friday
for
the
a second.
13th, you get a 13th.
Uh, well, that's pretty cool. So this is another thing. Okay, speedy tattoo. I would not be the
So
person. I
painful.
mean, because I'll tell you what, like record setting and stuff. Like, people will say, "Oh, so and so has written 500 songs." I don't really. I mean, I guess that's interesting, but do they remember them?
Oh.
And so, I mean, I don't know. Probably not. And how many of them do they really like? I don't know. But some
I'd be
people really.
impressed if someone could remember more than 10 of their own songs.
Right. But it's those people who are always there with the iPad, and I don't want to be I'm being a hater right now. I hate it when I do that. But some people find that when they write more, they get in the groove. I definitely understand that. But
Yeah.
how many tattoos can I do in a day? And then they set the world record because they did a
Yeah.
13. That's some
Yeah.
That's some wild. I don't know. It's beyond me, my friend. It's beyond me. I want to go back to music. We have gone all over the place, and I love how the tattoo stuff got in there, and Kate brought us that way, and everybody's obviously interested in it. But I would like to head on back to working with Frenchie and Einar from the Bubble, and talking about just a little bit about your pandemic experience with doing Headed North and the EP and when it came out. Just vibe on that for a little bit. Tell me a little bit about it, because what we listened to at the beginning sounded awesome. And I also know that you got some You got some stuff licensed to an indie movie, and then there's the Red River thing. I want to make sure we hit a couple of things before we get back into it.
Totally. Yeah. It was a kind of a once in a lifetime thing that I'm still humbled by how well it went. Yeah. Me, Frenchie, and Anar recorded 5 songs. It was our first time all 3 working together as the dream team, and just, yeah. And I couldn't be more proud of these 5 songs. It's insane. And it was
All
this whole thing
originals,
of like,
of course.
all originals. Yeah. I do covers in my sets, my longer sets, but it's always covers that kind of spoke to me in a way. So it's like what you said. If someone comes up like, "Hey, do you know this?" I'm like, "No, but I know this."
Yeah.
Something to give, or just go away. I got to start playing.
Sorry.
But yeah, no, released the EP and
When did
did
you
all the
release it?
right stuff. May 31st. It came out May 31st, 2020.
Okay.
And I did 5 animated lyric videos, and I did
These on
interviews, podcasts.
your
These are all on
YouTube?
YouTube.
Okay,
Yep.
cool.
I'll also be doing, it's in post right now with Ismail Quintanilla III, what is it? An official music video for Headed North. So that'll be
Okay.
coming out in a little bit. Yeah, did great during the pandemic. And then also now it's still going, where Headed North, the title track, did get licensed in a local indie film called The Good Hearts Club, which is Jake Lloyd, also a local artist, is on there. Swimming with Bears is on the soundtrack. Like, it's going to be really cool.
Some good
Sync is
cats, right?
added to the. Oh yeah, yeah. Did you say, is it going to be as good as Cats?
No,
Kidding.
no, I said there's some good cats on there.
Yeah, just kidding. Anyway, yeah, so a bunch of great stuff. It's beautiful when you release something and it has life. It's not,
Yeah.
to me, about the recognition. That's all life. That's all a future for it. It's like I'm so happy that this music, and then because once I purge a song, I purge all my music mainly. Um, thanks to Hank Williams' cousins, sisters, roommates, ghost, whoever the heck is helping me write these songs.
So wait. What do you mean you purge? What do you mean by that? You purge songs?
Most times when I write songs, I won't sit down. I'll feel it. I'll just feel like this warmth, and I'll be like, "Oh, I gotta," and I'll just grab the guitar, and something will come out. I'll hit record, and I'll record it, and then the vocal hook will just be right there, either in like an or whistle or something to get that melody, and then all of a sudden, like, the words will just come out from those noises, and I'll just write a full story. And I've had plenty of songs that
I
just
love
came out like that.
I love talking about this kind of thing because we do have a lot of, I like to call them singer-songwhiners like myself, that come on the show and, that are interested in this kind of thing. And so many people have such a different process. And, I have, kind of dance-oriented people that write from a beat. And then I've got, the songwriters that love to, like, make sure that it looks great on the page first. And then I've got, people that come at it from all these different angles. And I really, really want to just, like, slow down a little bit and talk about that, because I love showing people that there are so many different ways to approach working on a song. So I'm just going to slow you down a little bit and say, you said that you purge songs and they come out.
That's one way.
So one way is that you sit down with a guitar and you just start mumbling, right? Or you just start, like, waiting for a melody. Go ahead and tell me that a little, just one more time, because I didn't want to glaze across it. I love hearing about that stuff.
Totally. Yeah. So I've actually kind of experimented in all ways. Naturally, like you said, with beat. One time, I have a song that I released called "Bones Are Buried," where I was sitting on a drum kit, just hitting the drum kit, and I grabbed my guitar and was playing to it.
Yeah.
Song, though, going back to the Purged, that's where I was just sitting there, and the words just came out, and I almost like a freestyle. And I was singing.
And do you record yourself?
Record.
Yeah, you hit
then
record.
I hit record. Then I immediately hit record to not miss the moment. And I will go back to the recording to find the phrases that I said or almost said and form the words around that. And then I'll immediately see, like, a beautiful story forming. That's some parts me and my experience in life, and then other parts, whatever that story is. On my latest record, Headed North, there's a song One Sick Man, where I randomly decided to write about a bunch of seamen out at sea. Way back in the day, a storm spins them around, they're all lost. The captain starts going sick, and that sickness spreads to the crew, so they deem one of them a witch because all this weird stuff's happening. So the song is told through the perspective of the accused from down below of am I a witch or no, I'm not a witch. But and then so it's One Sick Man, and it's all about that, but it's them at sea, and yeah. So like a story like that might form. Or then one time I was in here, I rehearsed for like 5 hours to a click track getting ready for something. And so I just sat back and just started just playing a riff. And I was like, that's beautiful. I hit play. My song, My Old Home Chicago, that one, a full purge, lyrics and everything just came out. And that I remember I was sitting in the other side of the studio and I took my hat off to the corner where there was like a shadow, normal shadow, but I was just like, thank you. Like,
man, I love that. I love that.
It was almost too special that after 25 years of living in Austin, out of nowhere, a full song about Chicago just came out. Like, it was crazy. So,
you have a lot of.
I will dabble with the other ways of writing.
Well, sure, because we don't care as long as we get a damn song out, right? So we're going to try the other ways. But if you have stuff that works, going for it is good. And what I love about that story, too, is we look behind you and we see all this equipment and we see, compressors and we see limiters and we see this and we see boards and all that stuff. You don't need that to just record down your idea. You can do it on your iPhone. You can do it on a little tape recorder. You can have a legal pad. You can do whatever, right? But getting that idea down and then messing with it, I'm constantly reminded of a great story that Miles Zuniga told me about the Beatles, and that I later actually heard the audio from because it's real. And the story basically is this: George Harrison's sitting there and he's strumming and he's going, something in the way she moves attracts me like, and then over his shoulder you hear John Lennon go, a cauliflower. And basically he goes, it's just a placeholder. Finish the song. And that whole idea of I'm going to vibe and I'm going to put some music down, or I'm going to put just a little tiny bit down and fill in the gaps later, is kind of a secret that they're not telling you when you first start writing songs. Like, that once you get like a really, really good skeleton, it's a lot easier to fix those little parts. And so I love hearing about somebody like yourself who will, I'll put down a guitar riff, or I'll put down a drum thing, or I'll do this, or I'll do that.
Yeah, 100%. That's cool hearing it, because I haven't really talked about it much, or talked to others who do it the same way or whatever way. I've always just said purge, and I make the joke about, the Hank Williams cousin sisters thing.
Sure.
But yeah, it really is that. Just there'll be this vibe, almost for me, like a cinematic thing. I'll see, because I love film as much as music, and then I'll grab the guitar and there's something that I feel inside, and then I'll get close to it. And then all of a sudden the humming or whatever, it becomes this whole beautiful thing that I didn't put all this control on. Then I take that to Einar and Frenchie, and we compose these into the best, absolute best, like, songs they can be. But as a skeleton and a foundation for something, just pure, raw purging of whatever it needs to get out at that time, that's generally how I write all my songs.
And you could get so far with it. You get so far with it when you're like, well, wait a second. I've got the music. I've got the chords. I've got like a verse and a half. I might be stuck on the second verse, but I got two other people here who really understand music, who already like where I'm going. Like, I am so close. Another thing that I love
EP, oh, sorry. Please. They're all 11 years old. Only one song I wrote during quarantine. The four other songs are like 11 years old. Because I just have so many songs that I've done over the years that recorded, that I was just like, you know what I want to do for this next one? Just go back through my repertoire and see stuff that I recorded.
You can say shit. We're on cable. You can say shit.
Okay, cool.
We try not to do too many early. It's early, so we try not to do too many, but it's cable.
I forgot about that. Yeah. So I went back and it's cool. I was like, I've always wanted to see if there was a life in these. I wrote them just like I did all my other ones on a recorder, but 11 years ago. And so 4 of the songs on this are that, which is cool because
Yeah, man.
no one would
Yeah.
ever know. But
And what's also really beautiful about that is not only can you do that, but I saw a song that I wrote with Slade Cleaves and Ellis Paul. A young gal from Red Molly did an acoustic version of it, and she tagged me in it. And I hadn't thought about the song in literally like 15 years. And I was so happy. I love hearing songs from a different perspective, especially like a different gender perspective. And it was like the
oh
song
yeah,
is called She Was. And listening to her do this song from 15 years ago, I was like, it's perfect. It's perfect for her, And I couldn't believe how awesome that was, Oh, sorry, Lee
yeah.
Catterett putting it in the ding. That means that I just name dropped. He's right. And actually, two
Okay.
dings there, Slade Cleaves and Ellis Paul for the name drops. 3 if you count Red Molly. Lee also says the original version, yes, we all know, yesterday was not yesterday. McCartney woke up and he went, scrambled eggs. Everybody knows
Yeah.
that. That's a great story. It's just the placeholder. Hey, before, we've already passed the halfway mark. I just want to say thank you to Austin Music TV as usual. If you guys don't know, this is 20 Question Tuesdays. I'm Jeff Plankenhorn. My guest is Scott Collins. We do enjoy getting tips from you guys, even if you got $5 or whatever. It means a lot. It helps me keep the show going, and it makes sure that I can give my guests a little something at the end of the show for their time, especially during these tough times when we're not playing. So if you have a little and you can go ahead and throw something in there, it'd mean a lot for us to get a tank of gas for him, or for him and his significant to go and get a nice takeout meal or something. That's all we're asking. So thank you very much for that. Also, thanks to Austin cityjams.com and everybody who tunes in online every week and gives us these awesome questions. Hey, David Alvarez over there from another great radio station that we love.
I saw that the
Let's
first one's free. That was funny.
Yeah. He knows what he's talking about. Here's a fun question that I like. What was your favorite band when you were 7? And what is your favorite band now? Now, if you're anything like me, that's a tough question because how do you pick? But really, if you want my help with this, don't think. Don't think.
Oh, I
Just
already
like
know it.
think. Oh, you do. Okay, so 7.
It's too easy. 7, New Kids on the Block.
Oh, all right, that's
New
fair.
Kids on the Block.
Okay.
I can't go back in time and
Now,
talk
which one were they?
myself
The
with
right
it.
stuff? Were they the
I think so. I mean,
the
it
right
was such a
stuff?
phase
Somebody
that
help
I
me in
don't
the comments.
remember anything,
Yeah.
but it was
Well, you
the
were
right
7.
stuff. But for me, it was the performing. I was
Mm.
obsessed with this videotape of theirs, and me and my neighbor, uh, Eric Bishke, we would dance, and we would just do the full
Oh,
performances and put
come
on
on! I
shows and
wish you could
study
show
the
me some now.
choreography. I could find some old pictures of me in my Chicago gear actually doing moves. I posted on an Instagram a while ago. I'll find it. But and then also because Vanilla Ice sucked, it was New Kids on the Block and Crisscross. Just obsessed with those two tapes.
Crisscross. Oh,
And
they make you
Richard
jump,
Marx
jump.
and Brian Adams. Brian Adams, Richard Marx,
Okay.
Crisscross, and New Kids on the Block.
Okay. So that's not one favorite band at 7, but I will say, first of all, you answered usually my question. I only have like one question that's mine that I ask all my guests. But I'll get to that later, and it may have something to do with what we're talking about because I always ask at the end of the show before we go off the television portion. So if you can say, by the way, Crisscross was the kids that they wore their pants backwards, and so
So did
Crisscross will
I.
make you jump, jump. Did you wear your pants backwards?
I had to
You
try it. I
didn't.
had to do it. I wore my pants backwards to school and I felt awesome. And I had to turn them backwards after I got out of my mom's car because there's no way
Yeah,
she's
she's
going
not going to
to.
let you do that. And how did you? I guess you're just going to have
It
to
was
drop
like
your
one
drawers if
day.
you
It
went to the
didn't go well.
bathroom. Okay,
It
one
was
day,
yeah.
one day,
It
but
was
you did
one
it.
day. I did it. I did it. I was all
I'm
in from a
impressed.
young age. I wanted to perform. I wanted to. Oh yeah.
Okay, you were all in. I like it. Okay, I mean,
All in.
and nothing wrong with a little Brian Adams, my fine Canadian friend, and Richard Marx. I used to get accused of looking like Richard Marx a lot when I was a kid,
Really?
because I had
Yeah.
I had a big bouffant kind of feather haircut, so I got that a lot. Not so much anymore. Now I just pretty much get Zach Galifianakis and Jack Black,
That's awesome.
but what was I going to say? Oh. So, what's your favorite band now? And she specifically asked band, So, New Kids on the Block was great. That's a band. It's a boy band, but it's a band. What's your favorite band right now? I don't care if they're local, huge, big, old, new, whatever.
Yeah. So one of my favorite bands right now, I want to say Novo Amor because he plays with a band, but it's kind of like me, but with a band.
Mm-hmm.
There's a band Valley Maker that's
Okay.
wonderful. VL
Talk
Valley
to me about
Maker.
Valley Maker for a second. I'm always looking for new stuff, and that's another benefit of this show. One of the things I used to love about when I would co-host on Sun with David Arnsberger, and I would go
Yeah.
and I would co-host these Texas Radio Lives, and people was like, "Oh, you get paid?" It's like, "Nah, they don't pay me. I get some free tacos, and I get to hear new music because I'm always on the road, and I never got to hear new music." And so this show is kind of filling that gap for me. What was the name again? Valley
Maker.
Maker. Okay.
Maker. Yeah, their Rhododendron was a record they released that it just really hit me. Beautiful, um, kind of poetic. I think the dude actually wrote it as a college thesis, and it blew up on SoundCloud and made him a career. Yeah, it's a really interesting story when I looked into it. And it's just beautiful indie folky vibes, but with some saxophone. Um, you know,
Wait,
like
folky
dry.
saxophone. Okay, you've already got my because here's the thing,
Yeah,
it's like you
and
put
these
two things
so
together
deep.
sometimes and beats.
In a way, I mean, it's acoustic drums, but the way it's played, it's a little more jazzy. Um, yeah, I don't know. It's very interesting sound, and I definitely recommend checking out Valley Maker.
All right,
I think it might
cool.
be one of those things you either love it or hate it, but it's beautiful, and I don't know if a lot of people have hated it.
Well, I mean, here's the other thing too that we always have to keep in mind, and that sometimes we don't realize when we're young. Not everybody's gonna like anything that we do. And
Yeah, no,
nobody's gonna like everything that we do. And so it's like a really, really, really good thing to get over at an
yeah,
early point. And so it's the same thing, I'll hip somebody to something. I'll go, I love this. Like I remember playing a song for a songwriter, or no, an album. And so I'm on tour with this famous songwriter as his backup. It was a he. And I said, man, you got to listen to this. He was David Gray. And David Gray had just come out, and he
yeah.
was like
I
on a
cover a
tour
David
right.
Gray song.
Oh, cool. And he was just on tour, like he hadn't blown up yet. He was doing the same route as me and Eliza Gilkison, and we were over there. So ding, 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 lots and lots of stuff. But I came back and I had one of his records, the first one, the one that had Babylon on it. And we listened to it from beginning to end, and he pulled it out and he goes, well, I'm never going to have to listen to that again. And I was just like...
What a way to say it. I'm like, oh, good.
Apparently, he did not share my taste in thinking that, wow, this is kind of interesting and new, and I like this stuff, and there's some cool stuff
Right?
to this, and this is a breakout record, And it was like, no. So you
That's
get over it,
hilarious.
and yeah, I've heard lots of good ones like that. I had a similar experience when I played a Sheryl Crow tune for a band. I was like, you guys got to hear this tune. This tune is really, really good. And like literally the van was full of crickets,
Oh,
after the song. And I was like, this song is great,
and then you
but
defend yourself like, what?
no, I didn't defend myself at all. I just went, I put my headphones on and, whatever. I was already on my way to becoming more secure as a musician. Ha! So tell me a little bit about you mentioned something involving the Red River, and there was a help me out.
Yeah, and I don't know when they're planning on releasing it, but I know everything's been signed and all that. The Red River Cultural District. That's
Yes, that was it.
yeah, they've been helping us musicians out, sending out HEB cards during this whole time, and they also are putting together a compilation of artists. I don't know who's on it. I think it was supposed to come out during South by, so I'm not sure,
Mm.
but yeah, a song "Sync" from my EP is going to be featured on the Red River Cultural District compilation that will come out at some point, and all the proceeds go to help um, everybody. And
Yeah, everybody
yeah,
being musicians and
musicians is what I'm guessing.
in
Um,
particular.
or I mean, I don't know because they might direct it at other charities. I need more information on it, but I know that a song has been picked up for it, and then yeah, no, I'm just stoked about that for whenever it actually happens because it
We,
should help a lot of people. It'll be
well, I
hopefully
mean,
some big bands.
yeah, and number one, it's always good to be in good company. As
Right.
far as like your music being put along people that you respect. But there's also this thing where,
Yeah.
when we don't have a lot to give monetarily, we have our time and we can draw attention to things
Yeah.
and things that are necessary, things that need to be worked on, things that we wish we didn't have to spend. I mean, like, when we work on the stuff for the food bank, I'm always like so amazed by what the food bank does, but disheartened by the need, especially
Well, yeah,
for
of course.
children in Texas, and the state has so much money, and so
Oh
it's
yeah.
a little bit of a double-edged sword, but at the same time, it's a really good feeling to be able to give your music to something like that and to get something back from it.
Oh, I'm in it to give. Like not even being cheesy. When I played, I say this all the time. When I played my very first gig at the Curtain Club in Dallas, where I played 3 songs with a singer, my first original thing ever. In that moment, I was looking out and I was like, I've lived the dream. I can feel it. I can
Oh
feel
yeah,
that I've lived the dream. So
yeah.
everything beyond this is just a product of hard work. And there's been a lot of philanthropy in my family growing up, basically all of our lives. So it's instilled in me that I just have this desire to use whatever I'm given as a gift or I work hard for to develop my gift to take that as a blessing and then always find a way to everything should be a gift now off to someone else. I mean, it's how they accept it is up to them. It's like sending a letter. I don't know. It's once it's gone, it's gone. But that's how my music is. It's like sending out letters to everybody. Now it's yours. You can wipe your butt with
Well,
it. You can
yeah,
send it
and
back. You can read it. But none of that's in my control. And
yeah,
to have it be music
it's kind of
I couldn't
awesome.
be more thankful. Yeah, I couldn't be more thankful that I get to tell my stories in music. Anyway, so yeah, once I lived that dream, everything like that's kind of been that. It's been the dream where, and
Hmm.
my grandfather, before he passed, he said, Scotty, do music, but if you do music, always use it to do good. And so that's instilled in my brain is whatever I do with
Do music,
music,
but or
find
if
a
you
way
do
to do
music,
good.
always use it to good. Yeah, I have some
So
friends who have some other ways of saying that. Ray Wiley used to always say, he's like, "Well, Jeff, just make sure that you use your powers for good and not for evil." And
yeah, what's up?
and it's true with your musical whatever. It's easy to
Yeah,
go to the dark side, really easy. Um, as we both know, obviously. A
oh
couple
yeah.
more things before we get off because this is like super super fun. The sound of Cabbage Alley on my phone as an alarm means this. It means that we are getting close to the end when we will be off of Austin Music TV. We will stay online for just a minute or two, everybody. So stick with us, whether you're on Facebook or Twitch or on YouTube or on AustinCityJams.com. But thank you very much to Sheila Steele. We may go off in the middle of this last question, but this last question that comes from me is always my favorite to ask. And I like to ask people what their guilty pleasure music is. And a lot of people have, and a lot of people are like, well, I don't have any guilty pleasure. It's like, okay, but you know what I mean. What I mean, you don't have to be guilty about it, but I like to know what you listen to that is either your cheese or your sugar. Everybody likes a little cheese. Everybody likes a little sugar. When you like it, what is it? And the reason that it happened is because early on when I started doing this, I bared with the audience that I am a Fanilow. And that when I hear Barry Manilow, because when I was a kid, my mother would play the records right next to Stevie Wonder and right next to classical music and right next to this, I equated it as just as awesome. And so when I hear Copacabana or Can't Smile Without You, I can't help it. I get a warm, fuzzy feeling.
Yeah.
I can't help it. So I've heard everything from like the Spice Girls to like free jazz to, people just saying something really off the wall that I wasn't. Scritti Politti, I think, was a good one that someone came up with. But do you have a guilty pleasure music that you love?
That's the thing, not specifically, but I'm also not shy at hiding how I respond to like a song. Like I'll dance. I'm right all day in the house. I'm just singing show tunes. I'm making up in my head. I would say guilty pleasure would be like
Broadway.
Not show tunes that I know, show tunes that I make up. Yes, I'd say guilty pleasure would possibly also be a segue into something I'd like to do with my career if I'm able at some point. Would be like on stage singing, acting. But yeah, so I am constantly throughout the house dancing to music, being weird and singing.
Yeah.
Everything's a song. Everything is a song.
Yeah.
So maybe that.
See, now I really like that, but yeah. I think, let me break in because I want you to lean into this. I have a lot of friends who have said, maybe I'm going to write a musical about this or that. Very few actually do it. It's a hard thing, but you probably have the wherewithal, the patience, the motivation, the energy, to do that. And like I had a friend, Dustin Welch used to always tell me that he wanted to make a bluegrass musical that was about the Hatfields and McCoys. And he wanted to call it the Nooks and the Crannies. And I said, that's brilliant. I was like, you have to do that. You have to do that. And he never got around to it. I have another friend who really, really wanted to do a blues musical, and I was like, blues, huh? And he was like, yeah, I really think there should be one. And I said, well, there's, Porgy and Bess, and there's this and that. But anyway, quick thank you to the people online or on the television show. Bye, everybody on TV. We're going to stay online for a few minutes with Scott Collins. Thank you again for having us on Austin Music TV. We're going to stay online. So tell me, if you were going to do a musical, just have you ever thought about one that you would do? That you would start?
No. My idea is to not create the thing unless I get to that point where
you want to be in
myself. I would like to be. I'm right now at a point in my life or career, whatever, where anything I do that's dabbling into the film side of life and performance is just, hey, hi, it's me. Doing what I did in music. Trying to network and see what I could be. If you ever need a tattooed guy, and then. I did stuff with this Music First Hands comedians interviewing musicians.
Oh, I love them. Yeah.
Yeah, we did a flip thing where
Becky
the girls are doing.
Those guys are great.
Joe and Kim Stacy. I'm the pilot episode of musicians interviewing comedians. So I interviewed them, and then I challenged them to a game of basketball. We actually went out on site and filmed basketball. Okay. And so that'll be coming out, and just using whatever I can to ease my way into, hey, I think I could do this, and try, and then learn as much as I can. But I'm not. If I am writing anything, I do have a couple stories, one science fiction and one semi-autobiographical that I've been writing over the last years and years and years. And by writing, I mean I
either one of those,
like a page.
And either one of those could be interesting. I mean, I can't remember the last time I remembered something about a sci-fi musical. I don't know any sci-fi musicals. I mean, I guess Spider-Man, maybe. You know, a one man show of your life, you know, that's a life journalist is not, which I also really journalist of life is a great thing to be as a songwriter. I think that's fantastic. Also, Adrian ATX Quintero says Muppet Tunes. That's his. Yeah, I dig it.
Nice. That's funny.
Yeah, I mean those lyrics in Muppet Tunes. You know, why do we always come here? I guess we'll never know. It's like a kind of torture to have to watch the show. I mean, those. Come on, Stadler and Waldorf. That's great lyrics.
Oh my gosh,
Sci-fi
love
Beetlejuice on Broadway, maybe Beetlejuice on Broadway from Danielle. That might, you know, maybe Saucy Jack. Oh man, what was that? Was Saucy Jack the one from one of those? It was either from Spinal Tap or it was from Break Like the Wind. It was one of them. Saucy Jack. What was Saucy Jack from? I don't know. It was one of those. They were going to do a there we go. Some Rainbow Connection too. Hell yeah. Great stuff right there. Everybody, thank you all for joining in with us. Before we go, now that we are off the television, we can do, thank you, Brady. It was Spinal Tap. We can do calls to action now, which we can't do on television because of FCC rules. But here's what I would really, really like from everybody. First of all, thanks a bunch for the tips. We really appreciate it. This is how you tip. The info's also in there. I split my tips with my guest, and I make sure I keep the show going, and they get a little bit of something for their time in this crazy amount of world weird pandemic stuff. Maybe they get a tank of gas. Maybe they get to buy their wife a meal. Who knows? Or significant other. The other thing is I really, really want you to go, and now I can tell you to go to scottcollinsproject.com. You can find out more about Scott and all the many, many projects he's involved with. You know, find those YouTube lyric videos, find this brand new EP. People who don't know, when you go to Spotify, yeah, it's true we don't make any money off of it. It's beyond pennies. But make a playlist. Share that playlist. Make sure you also hit the heart and you save those things. They look at that. They want to know how many people, you know, saved our songs as well. So when you go check out the EP Headed North of Scott Collins, make sure that, you know, if you dig it, share it, like it, save it, do all those things. It really, really, really helps us. And it looks good because clubs look at it and they go, hey, a bunch of people listen to this. So there's that too. Is there anything else you want to mention before we boogie? Because I think we've got through all the questions and I've done enough, you know, big push at the end. I want everybody to check out your stuff.
No,
I think we did okay.
No, that was beautiful. That was perfect. Yeah. No, this is the second time I was going to say I couldn't have said it better.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. I forgot what it was. But you said something, basically what I was trying to say, and I was like, oh, man, that's it. I couldn't have said it better.
I think it was when I said, just remember, the secret of gift giving is whenever you give something to somebody, always expect something in return.
Yes. Just stand there.
Yeah, that's the only reason. People don't know that my wife says my sarcasm doesn't sound like sarcasm. She's Canadian, you know, and she's like, it's not Canadian. She's like, everybody thinks you're serious. It's kind of adorable. And I would think they would get the dry humor, but they have a different. I love Canadian humor too, and
I want to come to Canada so bad just to see what they think of me. I'm like, what?
Well, you know what's really funny? I will tell you this before we get off. Most of my Canadian friends, I don't care if they're Newfies or they're from Ontario or they're from Saskatchewan or they're from BC and they're an Islander. They can spot an American like that. And generally, there's a little bit of swagger. No matter who you are, there's a little bit of a air of kind of pomp that is kind of bred into us. That's a little bit, you know, not afraid to tell you what they think and a little bit louder.
Absolutely.
But I've definitely, and it's funny because when I come back to Texas, I'll bump into somebody in the grocery store and I'll go, oh, sorry. And they'll be like, what are you sorry for? You know? And I'm like, oh no, that's just,
they're like all aggressive.
They're aggressive. They're mad. They're mad that I said I was sorry, you know? And here, if I bump into somebody, apparently I bump into people a lot. If I bump into somebody in the grocery store here, what happens is I'll say, excuse me, and they'll just look confused. Because excuse me is not what you say. You both say you're sorry. The Canadian standoff is two people, arguing over the bill, basically.
That's
no,
hilarious.
I'm paying the bill. David, you know what I'm talking about, Dave. Dave Volrath there. He knows what I'm talking about. And I love it.
I'm so Canadian at heart. When I'm out, it's always, excuse me. Oh, pardon. Please. Sorry.
Yeah. You'd fit right in. You'd fit right in. But God, they're funny, man.
Good.
They're funny. They are super, super, super funny as a people. It's a big country, but Canadians are freaking hilarious. And, yeah. Okay, so enough talking about that. ScottCollinsProject.com. Thank you so much for doing this, man. And everybody, please go check out his stuff. And thanks all for the tips. And see you next week. I can't remember who I have on next week, but if you join the Facebook group, 20 Question Tuesdays, friends, all that, then you will know. And
I'll be
Scott,
there.
that was a blast. Scott, stay on with me. And everybody, bye-bye. Thanks, Twitch. Thanks, Facebook. Thanks, AustinCityJams.com. Thanks, YouTube. And thanks, Austin Music TV. Thank you, Scott Collins.
Thank you so much.